All right, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live with JRC Stock Talk. We've got Shido in the house. We've got Kiko Stocks in the house. And we are here to chop up some OTC discussions on what's happening with penny stocks today. Man, the volume is low, but there are some crowning moments out there. We're here to chop them up. Listen, I hope you're watching and paying attention. We're going to have an eye on the comment section here on the right of our show. So make sure you leave a message in the chat if you want to bring up something you want us to talk about. Kiko, how you been?
Doing pretty well, just working away, working on a couple OTC opportunities. Like you said, volume's a little lower than I think any of us would like. Hoping that's just because it's summer. You know what I mean? I'm hoping, like last summer, I said, it's just summer. You know what I mean? And maybe this summer it's true. You know what I mean? So it's been slower, but hopefully once everyone starts trickling in over the next month here, we'll be good.
You know, when summer starts, as a parent now, I realize that all of a sudden, all your kids get out of school. And so for people like me that work at home, it's quite captivating because you can't just pull away. They're like, let's do stuff. Let's go crazy. And you're like, I'm working. Hold on a minute. It's like, I'm not waiting for nothing. School's out. I mean,
Yeah.
it happens, you know?
Well, and you're traveling around. I mean, we have the Calgary Stampede here this week, and so we're going to different events and taking the kids here and there, and barely home. You know what I mean? It's just summer stuff.
Dude, I have to apologize to all the Canadians out there. Floridians won. The
Yes.
Panthers kick some butt.
Yeah, they did it.
They don't
Eked
have
it
any
out.
ice in Florida, but they won.
Are you familiar with drink? Yes, I am. Shido, what do you think about the old drinkaroo there?
About what?
The guy asked if you're
DRNK.
familiar with DRNK.
Oh, uh, I haven't looked into that one for a long time.
Yeah.
Did it do something lately? I don't even follow it.
It moved a little bit, maybe a couple months ago.
Who wants to share a
Um,
screen?
10 million. Tell me 10
10
million
billion.
DTC or 9 million DTC. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I remember why I don't follow it.
Yeah. Yeah. 10 billion DTC. I mean, the thoughts. It's. I know they had some news a while ago that this was in April. They were going to do carbon capture concrete. Um, and and then they were going to have a butterfly farm on the facility. I guess that was the deal. They were going to also raise butterflies.
I don't
And
understand that.
yeah,
Yeah, I just see
I got to be honest with you. Like as
had a
far as
nice
the
move.
probability of this becoming a good investment for you, I would say it's very, very, very low. Extremely low. The way I'd look at it, I'd probably use a stop loss of trip 5. And if it went below if it went below trip 5, I would probably move on because the probability of price appreciation would likely be pretty low.
Man, had a nice move in April. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was this carbon capture deal. It actually made an okay move. I was surprised at the power of the move. I guess they must have turned on some type of promotional engine of some sort, because it's not a fan favorite by any means. But that's probably the way I'd handle it because it's a real tough nut to crack, that
Yeah,
one.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're having a symbol change too. I mean, well, they need something to refresh the face of that, and then they're going to have to probably restructure the stock a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we heard from them in April, and there's been nothing since.
Yeah.
There's quite a few OTC companies sitting like that right now, and
Yeah.
they got to a certain point where they've over diluted, got as much as they can, squeezed the lemon. There's no juice left, and then they sell the shell.
Yeah.
I hope it works out though. Dave Mirsky is no longer involved. Rodney Inn says.
Okay. So Rodney is
Yeah,
informed on this one. Yeah.
Rodney's
who
very
knows?
well versed in this. I mean, those were the thoughts. Right? The question was, what are the thoughts? Those are the thoughts.
not bashing in any way. Look,
No, I
um,
mean, it's just stay above trip 5, or because if it goes below it and you're not hearing anything from them, you're at risk of getting back to trip 1 again. That's pretty much all it can be. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, absolutely. Anything
yeah,
can move. I mean, there's no reason to bash, but it's
no,
certainly like a thick one. I mean, that's for sure. And I haven't followed it, so I couldn't have much opinion about
let's keep
yeah,
it real. I mean, let's look at the whole picture, the macro image instead of the micro. You've got a company that's extended itself out to 10 billion shares. You have all the shareholders that are involved in that. I don't know the number at the moment. We can pull it up on OTC and look at the number of shareholders the company has, and they've been in this stock for a while. Most likely, they're underwater. So in walks a new company. They may be the most bright and shining company you've ever seen, have revenue, have all these things to move forward, but they're in a vehicle that may not suit their needs right now because they're going to have to clean up a prior mess. When they're talking about selling shells, usually they talk about skeletons in the closet. Their financials may not be up to date. They may be out of compliance or getting ready. Like Shido knows all the rhythms of filings. They may be in a bad spot there and about to go darker or to expert market. And say the company does good. They put out a press release. Hey, we're making money. We have a product in the market and we've taken over the shell. All the old shareholders are going to be looking for any type of movement potentially so they can just jump out and do something else with their money. They've been holding on for years. It's frustrating. So it puts the new company at a deficit. Now, I'm not saying that's always the way it goes. They may fall in love with the new deal and want to hold on and ride through it. But ultimately, this new company is going to end up needing to restructure the share structure. I mean, that means usually a reverse split, which is going to piss people off. Usually, if it's not for listing purposes, the stock's going to drop and then create this endless cycle of pissed off shareholders when you're trying to create something great. So, I mean, it's not the new company's fault in any way, shape, or form. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, to use an old slogan.
yeah. And sometimes, like on a setup like that, because I think you have to think about ones like that from the perspective of if you were the company, like, because if I was the company and I was taking over that shell, um, without reverse splitting that 10 billion shares, I would really feel as if I was getting sloppy seconds, and it would be very, very, very tough for me
Yeah.
to convert debt on it. You know what I mean? Like for me to, because the ideal way it would go is I would take a symbol, I would do a reverse split on it, then it would be on the moon at like $5 or something. And then I can receive cash in exchange for shares and let those people sell it back down to trips so I can fund my operations. And oftentimes when you see a company do a reverse merger on a setup that hyper diluted and bottomed out without doing a split, you get suspicious as to how real the company actually is. And so, not to say it can't move, but strategically, it needs to stay above trip 5. And if it starts losing trip 5 without a word from the company, you might be getting a hint that you got duped.
Yeah, don't forget to pull out, guys. I mean, I know we sometimes fall in love with certain companies. Whenever, if you have the chance to take profits, please do so.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean pull out 100% of your stock, but take some profits because this market's changed a little bit. I'm not saying be a flipper, but you got to protect yourself. You can always take the profit you pull out and buy more stock if it dips. There's ways you can continue to increase your share position and protect yourself at the same time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did anybody look at today's market activity?
I did. Yeah. We'll go through a few if you like.
I saw some familiar names pop up, but the amount of money they had trade through them was scary. But they had good gains.
And I think that's the problem. I'll put up a screen share and we can shoot through them.
I think there's one solid one that I recognize. Didn't have 100% gain, but pull up BLFR. We're going to get him back on here. He's been on a space with us before, and Nicholas is going to come back on for a show after he finishes getting financials and stuff like that done and these few of these deals announced.
Yeah, he finally announced the first part of that acquisition stuff, and I hope they gotta get into rolling now, because this one has been tough in the last few months, but I think this one has a lot of potential.
Which one was this guy? Sorry.
Oh, Blue Fire, BLFR.
Yeah, Pat knows this one as well.
Yeah, I do.
Like pretty good.
I do. Well, let's pull up a few. So this is how I run the list. Let's go through it. So dollar volume column is here. Let me zoom it in a bit for you. We'll go from there. That's pretty good, actually. Dollar volume column here. Looking for something with, at least over 10 grand, ideally, is kind of where you want to be. See if there's something going on. Below 10 grand, I mean, it's possible. Like if it was a real potentially thin one like that, I might take a look. So let's take a look at that. There's Blue Fire there. So it did bounce back at the end of the day there, Shido?
Yeah, it did. I mean, there was one guy that dumped into the bid after the news when it was already well into the high 20s. I don't know if that was a fat finger trade or why he market sold 40,000 shares. I have no idea. But it came back here. And it should. I mean, given the market cap and obviously we still wait for the share reductions. I don't know why that takes like months, but we still wait for it. But it should technically be cheap. I mean, on all the metrics. But I mean, we know that not always means something in the OTC. But but down here it's interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'll take a 20% gain all day if a company's trading some decent volume and it has some type of momentum building at all. I think that looks more sexy than seeing 100% gain in a day.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting through the list, and then we'll shoot through the ticker, see if anyone knows what's going on.
Yeah.
SanuWire is not a terrible trip. Wasn't a good stock, but it was an okay trip. It's an okay trip. Okie dokie.
That's good enough.
Let's start there. Altair Minerals. Big move today. Massive share structure. I'm assuming it's Australian. Yeah, it is. So these Australians, I don't know what it is. They like them chunky. They like the chunky monkeys over there in Australia. So let's see. Let's take a look at the chart there. So
is that a day chart?
What was that? There it is.
That's how many? How long? long is that chart?
30-minute.
That's the 30-minute chart?
Yeah, and you can see it has so low a volume that the candles date back years on this 30-minute chart. It looks like it got
Ouch.
just unloaded on the other day, and someone just picked up a dip. So overall, I'd say it probably doesn't look very good.
No.
No, we'll pass on
Next.
that. EFTR, Effector Therapeutics, nice on the share structure, nice little gain today. I'm assuming, let's just take a look. I'm assuming this is a delister. Yeah. So we'll put this on the daily, get the big picture. Yikes. Yeah, big picture. So it's delisted in June. Let's just make sure via the 8K. And they're defaulting on loans. Let's see if there's
Which
any
means
news there.
dilution, right?
And then they're going to wind down operations as it seeks strategic alternatives and expects to be delisted. So they're going out of business, probably going to file for bankruptcy, might announce a merger at some point. Let's see how the volume was that it bounced on. Not great. I mean, I guess here you would just be looking for like a technical chart bounce, I suppose. But you know, finding a bid to parachute into is the challenge on this. You know what I mean? That's tough. So I mean that's I mean it could certainly bounce, but that's going to be a whole lot of hard work, I think. What do you think?
It's delisting for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, the company's bad. There's a lot of companies that don't understand how to run the public side of their business, but they run their company really effectively.
Yeah.
And they're two separate animals. And man, it's a headache to do both. I mean, it takes a whole lot of educational experience. I'm not that strong of a man to be able to run a public company and run a business. It'll drive you nuts. So sometimes it's more beneficial for them to go private.
Yeah. All right. So EFTR, I'm going to hold off on that. That looks like a real painful situation. Eh? Do you know anything about this Kurt there, Shido?
No. Never. I think I never traded this one.
Nice setup.
Yeah, very good.
Kurt Cobain is what we call it on Wall Street. You know what I mean?
Moves on air, I guess.
Goes off with a bang.
Moved on 4,000 shares today. Obviously,
yeah, so not too much volume, but if you look at this on the daily, I mean, it's tough because like you're seeing since December. Like I think if we're all being honest, like there's no communication from them. It looks as if it's moved a bit since December. If you actually took it rip to tip, it might have been a good move, but that's last July.
Hey, on your charts, can you also flag when news hits? Just curious.
I don't think so. You can get earnings if earnings hits, but not news.
I think that'd be a good overlay on a chart.
It would. I see here on Kurt that they've had none.
Well, hold on. Okay, so educational moment here. Sometimes, but not all the time, companies are so non-informed. All they do is file SEC filings.
So
when's your last disclosure?
So we got an 8K from April. And Alexei Golovanov resigned as a director. And Victor Shvetsky appointed as himself as president.
So it's turnover. The other bad thing I've seen happen is they'll go to places like PR Buzz, PR Zoom, PR Log, PR Connect, and they'll put their press releases out through there because they're saving a ton of money, but they won't even show up on OTC markets or anywhere else. So you got to be a real fan of the stock to be able to do enough research to find their releases if that's where they're putting them.
Well, let's take a look at the balance sheet. Maybe it's a hidden gem, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Operating income, net income negative $91,000. And the cash at the end of the period is $50,000 thanks to cash they had before.
Yeah, this isn't a good situation.
No, it isn't. And that's the rub. Like, because I mean, this could absolutely go right to the frickin' moon. But we're seeing a lot of these now, where like just insiders are going to just run it up, and you know what I mean. So I don't know what to do with this. You got Rasputin as the CEO or whatever it is. You know what I mean? I can't keep up with this. I don't know what's going on. Well, let's see what's next. It's just tough, like, because it's just buy it and see if it, happens for you or not. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's always the trouble with these insider things. You say, well, it could get pumped, but is there any reason you're buying it? And if there's not a reason you're buying it, once the insiders unload it, are there any organic humans that are going to buy it? Probably not.
Yeah.
Blue
I
Fire, why
always
don't you? Oh, go ahead.
I always on the thin stuff, and I obviously I trade a lot of that stuff. I just always try to really buy it low. I mean, this sounds
Yeah.
silly, but it kind of is not. I never chase this stuff, because if you chase thin stuff and it reverses, I mean, you will get killed. And if you like buy like low stuff, or when it has sell-offs, and you have a reason to buy, or you know the symbol, you know how it trades or whatever. I mean, there's different reasons, right? Then that's just me. I have a hard time to buy something like this into momentum.
Well, why don't you help us understand about this dirt moving action? How's this going?
BLFR. Nicholas, he texts me all the time. He texted me some random joke the other day, and then this morning he's texting me the link to this press release. And good news, they made. Now, I expect that they may have a handful of acquisitions that are in play at this present moment. But today, what we saw was the first two of them being announced, and they've got revenue. They have value to them, whether it's assets. I didn't look deep enough to see whether it's assets or revenue or what, but over what was it, 100 and something million in value?
It's 67 million, I believe.
Today it was
67.
67, and at the end it should be 270, but it remains to be seen, right?
And this is to an OTC company that it did 50,000 shares dollars in trading, which is not huge, but when you compare it to all the other OTC stocks, that's substantial at this present moment, especially when things are so quiet. And I do expect that they're going to have more acquisitions coming. And again, I do believe Nicholas is going to be coming on the show sooner than later once a few more of these acquisitions are potentially announced. So he'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
That's great.
I know,
Okay.
Pat, you're a little bit, you didn't like the trading in this one, right? In the last few months. And I can understand that, because we often ask ourselves, where the hell are all these shares coming from?
Yeah,
The-
like
the
when you
TC
look at
never
it,
changed. Never.
like look at it on the daily. I mean, because like I see that the TA updates are happening, but I found it at least up until May to trade suspiciously. And you see that kind of here at the end of May, it seems to have become less suspicious.
Yeah, it changed.
You know what I mean? Like you could see it right there pretty much. And so maybe it's finally something to turn around, but I got turned off by it because I felt that the selling was suspect, and then I didn't like the choice of the partnership they made, which thankfully they unwound that
Yeah,
influencer partnership. I felt that was a terrible decision, and said it the day it happened.
absolutely.
But you know what? Like you look at this, and it's like just right here. It's like the great divide between where it maybe finally is starting to turn the corner. Someone finally stopped selling. So whoever that is, hopefully that's the end of it, and they can get this thing moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And to
And
be
it very
fair,
easily
I mean,
could have
they
been an old
disappoint.
shareholder.
Yeah, they just didn't deliver in the last few months. You know, they
Yeah,
disappointed
they haven't.
various times, and hopefully they finally turned around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, because it is a good story, and I've always
Yeah,
liked the cut of that management team's jib. Like I've always felt they seemed like good guys, and that's why I was having trouble squaring the selling action with what I was hearing. As I know you were too, saying like this isn't what I'm being told.
no, I was really, I was discouraged for a long time. Yeah, for sure.
So I hope it's a great run because it's rare, especially now, to see a company put this type of energy into cultivating OTC traders and what I mean, like, now it seems like either a merger gets zero volume or
Yeah.
just one communication, or it's just a pump and dump. And this is, I feel that this is neither of those, and hopefully it'll become really good.
I hope they come through with that share reduction. I saw management saying today it's in the court's hands. I don't know why this is so takes such a long time, but that
Yeah.
would be a good 1-2 punch.
Oh,
Acquisitions, assets in reduction in the outstanding would be good.
what I've experienced with Nick so far, he's pretty straightforward and honest. So I look forward to seeing him follow through on that stuff. It's probably a timing issue.
Yeah, I always had the feeling that he is a sincere guy. I mean, you can never tell for sure, obviously, as an outsider, but he seemed always really honest. We will see, I guess.
Hey guys, before we go any further, if you're watching this podcast, this live stream, whether it's on X, Facebook, or YouTube, please go and share this with other people. Give us a like, subscribe, connect with us, DM us. We love to interact with people and answer questions and get involved with being helpful and seeing you empowered as a trader to be uh, more successful with the money that your hard-earned money being invested. So please give us a share, send it to other people so we can grow our show because we grow with you. And thank you so much for being part of this. All right, go on,
For
guys.
sure. Grill it. What do you think about this grill it?
Haven't seen that ticker in a while.
I know, hey. Shido,
Yeah.
you got some grill it, didn't you?
Yeah, I got some threes pre-market today. I was lucky they had a couple available on IB, and I also got some fours after the open. So the thing is, it's I mean it. I mean I don't like that stuff usually. It's just I don't like 3 billion floaters. But this one, I mean, I don't need to tell you, Pat. I mean, this could get a lot of traction if they close this stuff because this has some big numbers around and but there is obviously some risks involved. Will they do a reverse split or will they what do they do? For now, I mean, I like it because they cannot. It's almost maxed, so they cannot really dilute a lot. There is still a lot of selling. Obviously, there has been a lot of cheap shares available in the last few weeks, so these
Yeah.
guys are taking profits for sure. But I have a lot of position in. I could see this like every trip player getting behind it. The problem is that half of the trip player are on vacation right now.
Yeah.
This is different. If this is December, it would have been a different bus today, I'm sure. But you just need to look around. I mean, there's so few guys here right now.
So curious, Shido, if you buy GRLT, say you got in at trip 2 or trip 3, where would you set a stop loss on this thing?
No, no, it's impossible. I mean, stop loss is impossible on that stuff.
Yeah, when you're in low trips, you just it's a size. The only strategy is size. You know what I mean? Like you got to just have an amount in and know that if you eat it, it's not going to ruin your life because you can't, like when every tick, like at trip 4, the first tick down's 25%, the second tick down is 33%, and the next tick down is a 50%. You know what I mean? So you're,
Yep.
you know, like you're playing with margins that are thick, and I understand that's why people like trading trips, because the margin to the upside can be absolutely humongous. But the only strategy I've found to dealing with trips, unless you have inside information, is less size. You know, especially if it's low trips. Like if it's trip 8, trip 9, like I can handle a loss from 8 to 7 or 9 to 8, but a loss from 4 to 3 is savage business. So for
Yeah.
me, it's always just been size, less
Yeah.
size.
Absolutely. I do
Yeah.
everything on in about size. You know, everything for me is about size.
Oh,
And
they
I
finally
just feel comfortable if that's why I spread my stuff so much. You know, because I
yeah.
would never be comfortable on any of these with bigger size, because we know what can happen overnight. Every minute something bad can
Take a
happen.
look. There's one.
Yeah, for example. But this one
BDC.
had the promotion,
Brand new
so
caveat emptor just today.
yeah, we knew that that's in danger,
And
and
did they have that? They had that promo tag on it though, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah, because if you're watching this,
Look at the chart.
if you see
Let's see
that
what kind of
stock-
promo action they had prior to
They
the
did
caveat
well.
emptor.
not that well.
No, and well, so
I
it
don't
depends on
know.
where
I
they
mean,
look at the volume pickup from. What was that back in April?
just 100% wash trading and dilution here.
Yeah.
100%. Like, give me a break. And you know, and to go through all that for a move from 0.4 to 1.2 over, you know, all of May, all of June, and half of July, just to get slapped with a caveat emptor. I mean, like that's. I don't think I know anyone that would have sat in this since May, since the start of May. No way. You know, so again, you know, here we are. This, and how many retail traders got wrapped up in it and will never trade the OTC again when they end up at zero tomorrow? How many do you think?
Yeah,
All of them?
yeah, and that's the thing, and that's we have to, and that's I guess is the purpose of the stuff we do here and roundtables and stuff that we tell them, you know. If you see a promo tag on a stock, you cannot be in overnight, because
No.
it's a lot of times they put on the CE.
Yeah.
It's just, but they don't know it. I mean, if you don't live and breathe this stuff like we do, I mean, you just think about it. We breathe this stuff every single day, 10 hours. I mean, somebody else, how would they know? You know.
They don't.
That's the
And,
thing.
you know, I had to get hit with a few to know. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, it's just, and nowhere out there is OTC market saying to anyone, hey guys, it's highly probable this is going to get a skull and crossbones and go to zero if we put a stock promo tag on it. It's almost a 1-to-1 correlation. You should know that this is all they do. They just put this little thing on it and hope that you can find it, when chances are you probably bought this over the phone or whatever off a boiler
yeah.
room. You know what I mean? How are they going to check this? They probably don't even know where to go to check it.
You know.
Yeah, there's phone rooms popping up again, like we were back in the old boiler room era, and
Yeah.
they're showing up in Mexico and Canada and different places that aren't in the U.S. And they're running shops. They're calling people. Pedro's List was the first one that brought my attention back to phone rooms, and I worked in a phone room for 4 years. I was a top producer, but that era is long past. So when I got a call on Pedro's List, PDRO or whatever, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I started asking questions. I was like, "How many calls you make a day? You have a book of buyers, or like, do you like? Are you what country are you in?" I was asking questions.
They're back. They're back doing this again,
Sheesh.
and that's why a lot of the moves we're seeing, there's no news or there's no disclosure because they're just doing it all off the books and they're doing it all, you know what I mean? And yet, like you said, outside of the country, outside of the arm of enforcement, and this is once again, this is the protection we're receiving now.
So how long from the time they put the stock promotion symbol up did it take for it to hit caveat emptor?
I've not been able to positive, I don't know on this one, but I've not really been able to say an average amount of time. Would you say, Shido?
Days, weeks?
No, it's
Could be days.
it's different. We have seen lately one that got we talked about it, I think, Pat, that got the promo label in the afternoon and got the CE like a few hours later on the
Yeah,
same
a couple
day.
hours.
That's unbelievable on the same
A
day.
couple hours.
And sometimes it takes a few days, and sometimes it takes 2 weeks. There is no certain timeline.
See, so I just want to take pause for a brief second and explain why what we do is so important. Companies have to get exposure.
Yes.
That's the lifeblood of
wrong
being
with
a public company, to raise money through your stock. Yes. People understand this as long as you do it in a reasonable and respectable way. But what we do is we get companies on here for question and answer sessions so that investors can hear the important info they need before they consider making an investment. There's nothing promotional in direct contact with investors, answering real questions and talking about the hard hitting information that they need to know. I mean, that's really the new front line of investor relations, or promotion, because you can talk about a Q&A or an interview all day long and promote the heck out of that, because it's where investors can come and get real information. It's not, hey, a pump,
Right.
It's not the Zach Morrises of the world.
Right. And I mean, but it's been just a fascinating little while because the game has changed to one that interestingly is it's going back in time with regard to pumping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's
Where
up with
am I?
GVSI? Nice
I don't
move.
know. I gotta find my screen here. I don't know where it went. Oh,
This GVSI, I don't.
there we go. GVSI is on the move again. I don't know.
Why?
Like this one, as you know,
It's a shell risk.
well, so this is a George Sharp shell.
Oh.
And he had really led them on in terms of we're getting close to this merger and stuff like that. The start of the year, and it was a complete rug pull. And then he turned around and blamed retail traders for not closing the deal. So it was their fault. Per his tweets, it was their fault for hassling the target company too much and making them pull out.
I've seen
of the
that
deal.
happen.
I mean, it's been a lot of broken promises here over the years. In fact, I mean, I can't believe that we are now. So this is when October or end of September 2021 is when he told people there, it was all done deal, gonna stay pink current, went gray, was gray, finally got it back to pink current reporting, made a move. And then along the way had been promising them various different mergers, none of which came to fruition. And finally people, now they're 3 years into this, dumped it. And so why ever this is bouncing, I don't know, but it's bothersome to see it taking dollar volume again, because it's a real drain on liquidity.
Now, I'm going to say this. I'm not advocating for George Sharp. I promise. I have worked with public companies for many years, and the worst case scenario is when you have a few investors that are so savvy at doing due diligence and research. I mean, they're almost like they're hiring private eyes to get information before it hits the street, and they will call potential deals and they will
Mhm.
start asking the potential deals millions of questions. And they'll start grilling them like, how come this hadn't been put out yet? And where are you at? And have you really talked to the company? Is this real or is this fake? And they will call their mothers, their brothers. Like, I don't know how they come up with half the information they do, but they will make it so egregious for a company to finish a deal that the people involved don't want to be there. So
Yes.
I have seen that take place.
It happens. It absolutely happens. In the case of GVSI, I'm not necessarily sure I believe it, but um, I wish these people all the best. It's been a very ugly ride for a lot of people, and when GVSI finally sold off big time in March specifically, in February they still thought there was a chance, but when it got crushed in March, this past March, I finally heard from a lot of people that because of what he had done with TSNP, that became Humble, they were struggling so much with trading the OTC, they went all in on GVSI that as their final play, and hundreds of them, and I heard from many of them, not hundreds, but I heard from many people that said, you know what, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done. And the damage that GVSI did to the retail trader, in addition to Frank Iguialor at Alpha Ridge, it's immeasurable. It's immeasurable damage. And so I can't in good conscience buy this. And people say, hey, it's just a bounce, trade the trade. But it's like me just trading the trade on a shot of fentanyl. Like, I know what fentanyl is doing out there to people. I know what fentanyl did, and I don't want to buy. I can't now, because this is the picture, the image of so much that has gone wrong over the last 3 years that I can't even look at it.
Yeah, no, that's one thing. But the reason why I'm so surprised, on top of that, is that Sharp told everyone that nothing will happen here until sometime in 2025, because
Right.
there is some reason he cannot do any deal before 2025, and he reiterated that statement a few weeks ago. So that's why I'm really surprised that somebody is buying it up now, because it's still only July, so it would be a little bit early for some anticipation move.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
There's always a possibility they're playing on the sentiment of the market, not just giving possibilities here, but if something's been dead for a while, people have been really negative about it, and all of a sudden there's a little bit of life.
Yes.
You might be able to draw quite a few people into
yeah, maybe.
that happenstance pop.
Well, yeah, and I
IFU.
mean, you could. This has enough of an audience of hopefuls left in it that you could load up the bottom and then start tweeting, "Hey, is something happening?" and sell into that, I guess.
Careful you don't get arrested for that, though. I mean, that's called manipulating the market.
Well, it's not what I'm into, but
Me either.
yeah, I mean, I see it every day. IFIS, this is a cow doo-doo play. Their business is cow doo-doo. Poopy.
I thought they called that fertilizer.
Well, not where I'm from. We call it doo-doo. Cow doo-doo, they're underway. They're moving it again. I've always found this a very tough trade. And it hasn't moved since December. On the move again.
Wow, look at that move, though.
It's a good move, yeah.
I'm not talking about the one they're having now, the one before.
Yeah, that was a very good move. Yeah.
Wow.
It's always been good moves. The original move, and part of the reason that I struggled with it early on, is I had been waiting on IFIS for quite some time. to begin to have a change of control. And when they announced the change of control, it had already been loaded to the tune. I mean, I forget how much they front loaded it, 1,000% prior to announcing the change of control, and I couldn't do it. It was 1,000% move prior to announcing that change of control, and they
Where
seem
was
to have
the
gotten
change of control announced at on that chart?
the announcement would have been like here in 2021, like at this, like maybe over a penny from nearly trips.
So you were adding up all the trading volume over the month before or a few weeks before, right?
Yeah, because it had no volume, and I'd gone through various periods over the prior 3 years holding it and seeing if they'd ever get a merger and being like, well, I got to do something else with my money. And then it started getting bought up quite a bit. And I thought, oh, it's maybe just COVID. They're just buying every trip for COVID. And it turned out it was one of the biggest outside of GVSI, one of the most shockingly egregious front loads of the time. So
Yeah, you see
it's underway now, and it seems to be moving well.
you guys see it more and more in the market. It's like the street somehow knows that news is coming out 2 days before it comes out. All the volume happens right up to the press release, and then it's crickets. And you're like, what?
Well, and the good news, at least with these guys, is they made good on it. You know what I mean? Like they actually continued building a business and rewarded people that bought it. But coming from where we come from, a front load like that usually means that when you buy the announcement, you're cooked.
Yeah.
And you could see, the absolute shocking scale of it there. It's 75 million, and then they went for days afterwards. So it's going well now, and they're underway, and I don't really know what to do with it at this point. So good for them. Cult F, these are the guys that grow fake meat.
It's so scary.
I know they make it in a laboratory meat, and they've been really
look at
ripping
that
the
run.
lab meat. Yeah. Post split, only 1-4 a year ago, and they seem to be getting underway now. They
Reverse, right, or forward?
They grow you a steak in the Petri dish.
Was it a reverse split or a forward split?
Let's take a look here. Reverse split 1-4 a year ago.
And that's not a bad split, though. I mean, 1-4 is not going to make everybody mad.
And so this is if lab grown meat takes off, this is the stock. I mean, this is the lab grown meat stock, no question about it.
I think that it's already taken off, and people were just afraid to tell people they were eating lab grown meat. Like, I believe companies like Burger King and McDonald's have been already pumping that stuff through their system forever. And people just haven't. I mean, because look, chicken nuggets, when you look at a chicken nugget, my kids get them. I don't get them anymore. I mean, but if you look at it, does not look like chicken.
No, it's all ground up. So if you wanted to play the game here and see if this is the lab grown meat revolution, you stay above 20 cents. Pretty much all you can ask it to do. FCCN, this is one that's been on the move quite a bit. I've not been able to grab it because I just feel like I don't know where to get it. It's like it's just been parabolic. And like the way it's trading to me is terrifying, like in a promo type way. I could be wrong, but there's just something suspect about it.
I missed this one as well.
Yeah, well,
interesting.
it's just a very strange play. They got some software or whatever. I don't know, but it's been a good move, but I wouldn't know where to touch this at all. I wouldn't even know where to bid it. I mean, like if you were to just drop an anchor here on it, like let's just put here. Just put it to what, the 20th of June. Their average right now is 2.5. They're 100% up right now. You could also put one to where they really started loading it in May. They're just miles up. So unless you're willing to bid that anchor like mid twos and get a bounce out of it, I can't slap it here.
No.
I'm looking through everything I can to find out if there's any known promoters on it. I haven't recognized any at the present moment.
Yeah, the very strange one. I wouldn't know what to do with it. But that would be the bid for mid twos, because at some point I'm sure that there's going to be some shorts try and pile into this. So that's that. Awin, I don't
Yeah.
know this at all. Do you know this, Shido? Good
No.
God.
No.
Wowee.
What do you mean, Wowie?
Look at this setup. 924,000 outstanding. That's it.
But did that split recently? Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pono.
because it always is
No. Oh, yeah. Reverse split 1 to 100.
likely. Yeah.
How
I
long
didn't
ago?
know in April.
What's the
Funny
trading?
enough-
Show on the chart where it was in April at the split and what happened, and then where it's gone since then.
Here it is.
Yeah, spread it out more than that.
It's gone to 0
Is
Where,
this
where's
a-
the April on that chart?
right here.
Oh,
Is this a delister?
oh man.
The last
Post-
few months.
There's,
Let's
so
delist.
look at that big green spike from the volume. Somebody was trying to call a bottom on that play and see if they could get a bounce.
Well, I think they got a pretty good one. How much volume? 48 million.
It still didn't go anywhere.
No, and now it's just getting whacked to death. Tough one, guys. Ay. You just have to pick it up and just pray that there's a bid for you. Because like even now, I could say, "Hey, stop out at 49," but if there's no bid there, you're cooked.
Do you remember that symbol before they did the symbol change? Because I
no.
don't remember it, and that's a rare thing that I never heard.
Well,
this
it was on the big
symbol.
board, which is probably why we don't know.
That's why I thought it might had been a delister.
Let's take a look if it is.
Hono.
I don't think it
never
is.
heard Hono.
I don't think it is. Well, maybe it is. Let's take a look. Yeah, there it is. Delister, April 30th.
Yeah, that makes more sense because something that I never heard that's weird.
So they must have been adding a ton of shares since April then, because this is gross. Look at this. How many did they dump? Yeah. Yikes. I don't know what to do with that. I mean, it would just be a spray and pray grab and see if it rocks. LRGR completed a reverse merger recently and remains a decent setup.
Yeah, it's on my watch, this one.
Yeah. I still believe that they could do it.
In teens and lower, I'm ready for if they want to get some cheaps out, because I mean it's still a merger. I mean it's probably not
Yeah.
the best, not the most exciting one,
Yeah.
but it's
But
a great setup.
Tough right now.
Yeah.
And then finally, Sandywire, it's an okay trip. By today's standards, it's a pretty good trip. We just haven't really heard anything from them.
Quiet
So-
on the home front.
Yeah, pretty quiet, but they've been buying it up a little bit. They've been buying it up a little bit over the last month, and there's just not a ton of selling there. So,
That's probably a good sign they're going to have some news and something's brewing.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah. So I've got a hard stop in 5 minutes. I've got to take the little man out to soccer. But that's the list, guys.
So, does anybody remember Yingling Ice Cream?
Yeah.
What's their ticker again?
YCRM.
YCRM.
So I talked with the new owners with Rick, and I think they're going to come on the show.
Okay.
They're right now in a grace period. They're delinquent on their SEC reporting, still showing a shell risk, but the guy's got revenue and growth, and I'm really looking forward to finding out what he's talking about, because I also want to introduce them to a potential acquisition. I mean, between YCRM and SDCH or Side Channel, they're both in the exact same niche of business. I mean, nice to see both those OTC companies roll into one and try to make a push at some real meat, but we'll find out how that plays.
Could be interesting. It's been slow going since the whole pickle jar fiasco.
Yeah.
Yeah, been
Yeah,
tough.
we had Pickle Jar on the show like less than a month from the time the deal fell through.
Will they avoid the expert? They only have 5 days left,
5 days, yeah.
and then they lose the 211, and that sucks. If you
Yeah,
lose
they'll
it
go on unsolicited quotes here.
also for a few days, that really sucks.
I have a feeling they'll make it, but we'll find out.
Yeah, they better.
Okay.
do.
Well, look, let's wrap this up while we have time before you have to go. Guys,
Okay.
thank you so much for joining JRC Stock Talk. We have a live show that got postponed, but I expect it's for really good reasons. And we'll be talking with Vinance, VINZF, next Thursday. We also should have another podcast coming Tuesday, and I'll leave that one for you guys later. You'll see the marketing material come out for it once it's announced. But please follow us on YouTube, like our videos, subscribe, make sure you share them with other people. We want to hear your comments, so be involved. And thank you so much for joining us. We're here to help you grow and become better, stronger traders and better at getting due diligence right from the horse's mouth, because there's no better place to get it.
Awesome. Well, thanks to everyone who came. Have a
Shido,
good one.
Kiko, I appreciate you guys being part of this. Thank you so much for being involved, guys.
Thanks.